Hello, everybody. In this video, we're going to look at what I consider to be a fundamental relationship skill, and it's about co-regulating. And actually, I think this may be the most important, or certainly one of the most important videos I've ever made for couples. It's mainly directed at couples who were one or other of them maybe, or both of them maybe neurodivergent, or they've got a highly neurodivergent child. So they often get dysregulated. So I really, really want to teach you how to develop the skill of co-regulation. And so if you've got a journal, get your journal, make notes, pause the video and get your journal or notebook, and please take notes, because this is really, really important. You know, as I've been thinking about making this video, I see that as far as parenting goes, it's probably one of the best things that you can do for your children. I realize, you know, in my first marriage, I was a very dysregulated young person just by virtue of my history. And I married somebody who was equally dysregulated. And between the pair of us, we had a very dysregulated relationship and therefore household. And my children grew up in a very dysregulated environment, which was no help to them. And so, you know, you can take great pains to feed your children well and clothe them and take care of them and do all those things. But if you're going about dysregulated all the time, that's the water they're swimming in. And that it's what they're getting wired with. So it's really, really important. And I just want to say, in well over 30, nearly 40 years of working with couples and relationships, I would say most couples don't fall apart because they don't love each other. And you know, I'm a family mediator as well, and I've mediated with lots of couples. They don't fall apart because they don't love each other. They fall apart because their two nervous systems are colliding, and each one's trying to survive, and each convinced that they're right. And you know, when stress hits, the body takes over and their physiology takes over, and they get into what I would call is an amygdala hijack. And that's that tiny little part of the brain that signals threat. And so, you know, words come later, if at all. So I want to explain a little bit, and it is a little bit clinical and a little bit theoretical, but I think it's important for you to understand the polyvagal system, that our brain has the vagus nerve, and it's vagus is Latin for wandering. It's a huge nervous system that runs from our brain all the way down through all parts of our body. It's like a big wandering branch with all kinds of side branches and tributaries going to all our organs, right down through our gut. And a guy called Stephen Porges developed a body of information about what he calls the polyvagal system. Now, this is really important. Um, um, uh, and if you get just a basic grasp of this, and I'm going to keep it simple, if you get a basic grasp of this, you'll have a shared language for what's happening beneath the arguments, beneath the silences, beneath the emotional storms. So it's not about blame, because there is no blame in this. It's about biology and physiology. And once you see it, and once you understand it, you can't unsee it. So, because here's the truth, and it's a hard truth, that once you get dysregulated, you can't talk through the problem if you're in a dysregulated state, because you're just going to hear what you want to hear. You're not going to hear what you don't want to hear. You cannot reason with a nervous system that's hyper aroused and feeling threatened, and trying usually makes things worse. So write this down. Regulation comes before resolution. Regulation comes before resolution. So I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm going to explain the 3 states that you really need to recognize. And we all move through these 3 states throughout the day. Everybody does. The problem isn't about entering into the states. It's about, as a couple, recognizing that one or other or both of you have entered into a state together. So I'm going to spell it out, and we'll look at the signs that you'll notice, and I'll explain to you what each state is, what are the signs that you're in each state, what to do and what not to do. So here we go. The 3 states are what are known as ventral vagal, when you feel safe and connected, and that's the state you want to be in. The second state is when your sympathetic nervous system is dysregulated, and that's when you want to either argue, fight, argue that you're right, or just go out and slam the door, take off. And the third state is what's known as the dorsal vagal, and that's when you go into a withdrawal, a freeze, a shutdown. So that's the 3 basic states. Now, the first one, the ventral vagal, is where collaboration lives, and learning to collaborate is a skill, but you cannot get to collaborate, successful collaboration, if you don't know how to get into this state. So the ventral vagal state, where you feel safe and connected, is the home of collaboration, where you can reach agreements, particularly about children and how you're raising children and your parenting styles. And especially if you have a child who has got some special needs or special educational needs, and decisions need to be made about maybe medication and schools and plans. You need to be able to collaborate, and successful collaboration depends on you both being in a state where you're able to reach agreements. So how would you know if you're in that state? So here's the signs to look out for. You'll feel at ease with each other. You'll be making eye contact. It feels easy. Voices are soft and fairly low. You're curious to hear each other's point of view. You're interested, you're engaged. There can be some bit of humor, a bit of banter, a bit of, bit of laughter is possible. And you feel that you're with each other, that you're together. You're not against each other. So when that's the state that you're in, that's what to do is to talk about the issue here. Use we language, not you, and not just I, but we. The main thing is to slow everything down and stay present with each other in that peaceful agreement state. Now, like, I know couples who probably rarely ever find themselves in that state, but they're not happy. And it's not that there's anything wrong or bad about anybody. Nobody's to blame. They've just never learned how to do it. And they've probably grown up in a household that was dysregulated, and it's not anybody's fault. So this ventral state is the only state where real repair happens. So that is what you're aiming for. So the second state, the sympathetic state, which many of you, if you're watching this video, will be familiar with, it's where you're constantly hyper-aroused, dysregulated, ready to fight or flight. And for at least one or both of you, it can often feel like walking on eggshells. And this is escalation territory. So the signs that you'll notice are raised voices, fast speaking, interrupting, defending, proving. So you'll get all that body language and everything's going fast. A restlessness, pacing, clenched jaws, that kind of urgency in it, and a desperate need to be right. So when that's happening, you'll see when that's happening, people are talking fast and they're breathing very shallow from their upper chest. And when that's happening, your brain, the amygdala, is getting the message that there's a threat around. And so you start pumping out messages to your adrenal glands. You get full of adrenaline, and then you're hijacked by your physiology. You're ready to fight, or if it's your dominant way of handling conflict, you're ready to run away and get me out of here. So what you must not do when you find yourself in that fight or flight state, do not interrogate each other or pursue each other. You know, a lot of couples have a habit when one goes into flight and wants to go to a different room, or right, I'm going to bed, or, you know, take off. So they're in a flee mode. The other one is in fight, and they pursue them and follow them all around the house. Well, that's when, you know, things really escalate, because the person who's being pursued is feeling overwhelmed. So the other thing is, don't bring up the past, which actually just inflames the situation, and don't demand answers, because you will get no satisfactory answers in that state. What you do need to do is notice, notice that you're getting activated when you see those signs of speaking fast and being urgent. Pause the conversation, state, look, we're being activated. One of the things Alan and I used to do when we first got together, because we'd learned this stuff, to deactivate our amygdala, move your shoulders. If you move your shoulders and take long, deep breaths, then your amygdala gets the message there is no threat, the threat's gone. So pause the conversation, go make a cup of tea, take deep breaths, take a bit of time out, and get your own body regulated. So offer space to your partner and each other, for both of you. Offer space, a bit of time out, a bit of getting regulated. Take a pause. And it's not the time to win. Definitely not the time to win. This is about de-escalating. So there's a skill in this. And so there's clear things to do or not to do. The third state is the dorsal vagal, which is shutdown and withdrawal. And what do I mean by that? This is where couples misinterpret silence as rejection, where one party just shuts down. And what you'll notice is that there's a kind of an emotional numbness. Um, very little words, very little contact. It can look like stonewalling. It's not quite stonewalling, because it's a kind of an inside yourself. And there's a withdrawal into screens, just scrolling, acting indifferent, like, well, I don't care. But actually, they do care. But it looks like I don't care. Yeah, and all their body language is saying, I don't care. But it's because they've shut down, and they go into a kind of a despair of like, kind of, what's the point? What's the point? I give up. I give up. So when your partner gets like that, what not to do is do not chase or pressure them. Don't accuse them of being cold. Um, don't escalate the thing just to get a reaction. We need to talk about this. That is definitely not the thing to do. So what not to do is to chase or pressure, and that thing of we need to talk now. Look, there's two mechanisms that I suggest to couples, and you can find them in other videos that I've made. One is a daily temperature reading, and the other is a weekly business meeting. And using both those simple mechanisms help to help you to keep regulated routinely. So don't chase or pressure, and don't escalate. So lower the stimulation, go make a cup of tea, recognize your partner's getting overwhelmed, and you might even be starting to feel that way as well. You both need a bit of space away from each other. Take time out to let all the body chemistry settle down, to let the adrenaline settle. Just offer presence without demand and without going out and slamming doors. Keep the connection simple and light. So you don't have to sort anything out right now. Just presence without demands, some warmth, some reassurance. Would you like a cup of tea, darling? Can I get you anything? That kind of tone, and, a gentle touch, just to show that you're aware, and let your nervous system thaw at its own pace. Don't try to force it. You need to understand that shutdown is not indifference. It's a way of protecting your nervous system. So this is part one of the co-regulation. And I'm going to end this video here now so that the video is not too long, and teach you the core skill of co-regulation in part two. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.